On this episode of Jerks Talk Games, we crack open a nice can of Saltuna and talk about why we love capitalism. Welcome to Jerks Talk Games, a podcast with two programmers who think they know how to play video games. My name is Chris Tankersley, and with me, as always, is my good friend Gary Hockin.
Hello, Chris!
How are you doing today, Gary?
I am doing okay. I came back from hanging out with you in person at PHP World, which was amazing, by the way.
Yes, it was very fun.
But I came back with a really bad cold and a sore throat. My own mistake. When I'm working on the booth, I usually have like hand sanitizer to use frequently. Mm-hmm. Because people will sneeze into their hands and not wash them and then shake your hand. People will be people at these events. So
I may have done that 3 or 4 times intentionally.
Well, that is exactly why I've had this terrible cold then. Thank you, sir. So yeah, I'm going to try and stop my coughs from making it down the microphone. But if I let one slip, I apologize.
Yes, because I will not edit it out because I hate editing these things.
And how are you doing, Chris, more importantly?
I'm doing good. I came back to a house already full of sick people, so I have to worry about con flu as well as regular flu. So.
Oh, I was really bad Sunday and Monday. Like yesterday, a bit better today. I'm feeling tippity top, but yeah, I was pretty bad Monday in particular.
Yeah, the weather here is getting crappy, so like I have to contend with that.
That's not good. But what you been playing, my friend? What you been playing?
So I have mostly been playing the thing we're going to talk about today, which is the Outer Worlds. I have been waiting for this game to come out for years, and it dropped while we were at PHP World last week. And yes. I have it on actually both of my Xboxes, and I've been swapping between the two as I play them. So
it was rather like it dropped just under a week early, I think, which surprised everyone. Because I think it was supposed to be dropping like this Friday. I don't
remember. I just know it dropped. I just know it dropped last week. And
it just came from nowhere. So yeah, we'll have a good chat about that. I've also been playing on PC. I've also been playing tons of Apex Legends again, because that seems to be the game that I keep thinking I'm going to stop playing, and then it just hooks me back in.
It just drags you back in.
I keep playing my dailies, my 3 daily missions. I have to do that, get 750 damage as lifeline, or I keep having to... It's totally got me hooked. And the other thing I've been playing since the last time we spoke is Skyrim, or did I mention this on the last podcast?
I don't think so, no.
I went back to Skyrim because I found out there's a ton of DLC that I own and that I never played. And intriguing for me was one of the DLCs, I believe it was the Dragonborn DLC, but I could be wrong. I usually am. The DLC makes werewolf characters have their own skill tree now. So you can level up your werewolf abilities.
That's the vampire DLC.
Oh.
Because you can either side with the werewolves or the vampires or the non-vampires.
Yeah.
And then that you get like a whole skill tree and everything that goes along with it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that I didn't know that existed. I used to find playing as the werewolf hilarious, but now you can like essentially always be a werewolf and level up your skills, and it's brilliant fun, and I'm really enjoying that. And I would still be playing it right now, except for the Outer Worlds dropping. So,
now, are you playing like the old Skyrim, or are you playing like the new version, the new enhanced edition?
I am playing the enhanced edition. Yes. I think we've mentioned this before. I own Skyrim in about 6 different places now. I've paid for it about 6 times. So I'm playing the enhanced edition that I already had on Steam, that already had the DLC. But it's great fun. There's a hack, not a hack, but if you're an orc and you've got a fully leveled werewolf, you can use the orc's berserk ability once a day, which you use before you become a werewolf, and it still carries through into the werewolf transformation. So you get 60 seconds where effectively your fully kitted out werewolf with the rings and everything does like 280 damage a hit, so will basically 1 or 2 shot any mob in the game, and it's hilarious, and I love it. And it's just a new way of playing Skyrim, so it's all good for me.
I've not played Skyrim in a while, but I'm the same way. I own it on like I think everything at this point.
Yeah. I just fancied another playthrough, and that's my chosen method, and I'm not guilty about that at all. It's brilliant fun. So.
Well, so I guess that kind of brings us on to what our main topic for today is, which is the Outer Worlds. Speaking of Skyrim, it's a spiritual successor to Fallout New Vegas, which, if anybody's played that, has listened to any of our podcasts, they know how much, at least I love the Fallout franchise in general.
I am.
And
yes.
Oddly enough, before PHP World, I had actually reinstalled Fallout 76 to play it again before its whole crap that has gone on with it. And then I found out that Outer Worlds was coming out, and it's like, screw that, playing Outer Worlds. So it's developed by Obsidian Entertainment, who did Fallout New Vegas, and actually directed by Tim Kaine and Leonard Boyarsky, who helped create the Fallout series. So you have people from all over the gamut with Fallout coming back to work on this game, which has many of the exact same elements. The cool thing for me is, I think because the partnership they have with Microsoft now, I get it for free on Game Pass. So I didn't have to pay it. I didn't have to pay for it. But this is one thing I didn't realize because I was at GameStop. They did not do any pre-order bonuses or any special editions of this game. You just spend $60 and you get a game, and you get to play a game without all of the live... Exactly.
Hooray for Obsidian.
You get a single-player game with no shitty live service thing, where it's like, log in today and get your 55 kills, like on Apex Legends.
Yeah.
So, congrats to them for having the balls to do that, which I think is great. But I think this has been a labor of love for them, because this thing has been in development since at least 2016. And they finally managed to get a team together and get a plot written and get a game shipped out to critical acclaim. They finally got their Metacritic score that Bethesda wanted them to get.
Before we get into the actual gameplay, the really cool thing for me is Leonard Boyarsky was the art director who is responsible for the unique Fallout aesthetic, right? So he's responsible for Vault Boy and all of that amazingly cool thing that makes Fallout for me. That whole weird 1920s, I guess. Ish
1950s,
1950s, sorry, 20s. Jesus Christ, yeah, it's yeah. I'm still ill, right? Be gentle, but no, that kind of for what's the future going to be like when it's imagined in the 1950s. You know, that whole aesthetic that I absolutely think is what makes the Fallout universe so compelling to me. I love all that stuff. Fallout is the only game I play where I read all the lore and read all of the messages on the consoles and drink up the actual lore and the universe. And so I was mega excited for this, because arguably New Vegas is the best Fallout, right?
Story-wise, yes. I think you could make an argument either way between Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, like mechanics-wise, which was better. I think New Vegas had the best mixture of gameplay and plot between all of them. Because realistically, Fallout 2's plot is kind of dumb, and when you get right down to it, like it's really not a very good plot. It's kind of just Fallout 1 all over again.
My tribe needs a gek, and then when you get the gek, my tribe has been stolen. That's not a...
Yes.
It's not... You don't think that's a... I just wanted to prove I knew the plot there. It's totally fine.
Yeah. No, it's like, I love I think Fallout 1 is better than Fallout 2 in many ways. I think moving to the third person and bringing it into the modern era, Fallout New Vegas was the best of those two. Fallout 4 is pretty good. Like, the more that I've gone back and played that over time, it's a very, very good game.
I love Fallout. I am going to say that when I said arguably New Vegas is the best Fallout, that's common belief. I believe Fallout 4 is the best Fallout. My personal opinion, I love Fallout 4. I've probably played Fallout 4 through at least 5 times, sometimes with arbitrary restrictions on me, like no guns or, I just love playing that game. I feel like it suits my particular skills and what I love about a game. Some people say, it's too FPS-y and not roleplay enough, but I disagree. Like, the whole way you can build a character so that you can use VATS and Blitz and melee is amazing fun. Or you can build a stealth character where you can just use VATS. VATS makes that not a Twitch game, in my opinion. But anyway, whatever we talk about, we'll always get on to talking about Fallout, so it's all good. We're not talking about Fallout, we're talking about the Outer Worlds.
But this time we have a reason to talk about Fallout.
Yes. The Outer Worlds, for me, it's set in an alternate future. I haven't really read a lot into the lore. I understand what I understand from watching the fucking 15-minute cutscenes that are unskippable, as usual. That's for another day. But yeah, you're kind of you're on board I can't remember what the colony ship is called now, which is
the
really
Hope.
bad. The Hope, that's of course it is. You're on a colony ship.
Because get it, they lost hope.
They lost hope, yes.
It's a play on words, Gary.
Okay, thank you, Chris. But you're on one of these cryogenically frozen. You're sent out to colonize the outer reaches of space, the outer worlds, if you will. And these colonies are being run by different corporations. So you have one corporation running one city and another corporation running the other city. And it turns out it would have been too expensive to wake you up and integrate you into one of these colonies. So the Hope was just left to drift with people just in cryo sleep forever.
So what? I haven't beat the game yet, so I don't know what the ultimate.
I haven't either. It's fine.
So what had actually happened was, they use, like, I don't know if it was like sublight speed or whatever to get there, or like warping. The ship was supposed to take 10 years, but you wake up 70 years after you left Earth. By that point, like, I guess a bunch of colonies have not shown up. So you're rescued by, like, a mad scientist.
Yeah, just you, though. Not all the people in the Hope. Yeah.
Yeah. He wakes you up. He needs more chemicals to wake up everybody else, so he sends you down to a planet. You crush your contact by accident in a
I'm laughing already.
In a wonderful Wizard of Oz looking scenario. Like,
it made me laugh immediately, I have to say that.
Yeah. You crush the person you're supposed to meet, and then it's kind of like, well, you're here now, go do it. And yeah, so it's an alternate timeline. You got all these mega corporations. One of them specializes in, like, food and chemicals, which is like Anti-Cleo's. You've got Hammersmith, which is like a gun company. You've got Spacer's Choice, which I love their tagline, which is, you've tried the best, now try the rest.
They literally market themselves as cheap and shitty, which exactly. I love, by the way.
So you have all these corporations that are just, like, in control of everybody, and, like, one of the first quests you have is you have to collect graveyard dues for everybody, because you have to pay for your own graveyard and pay for maintenance on everybody else's graveyard to the corporation, because the corporation is so gracious enough to give you a plot of land to be buried in.
It's like the ultimate company town scenario, right?
It is late stage space capitalism. It is exactly what
I love it. I mean, my first impressions were that they've thought a lot about how they present this game, because I haven't been to. I mean, I'm not far into the game. I don't think I haven't been. I've probably only been to like 3 planets.
Yeah,
two planets and a couple of space stations. But that first planet you land on is absolutely stunningly beautiful. Like that first impression, the planet's got rings that you can see going around the sky. There's a big moon. It's just stunning and colourful. The town is colourful with neon, and when you first walk into the first space station you go to, and the doors reveal all these signs, and you know either side, it's just amazingly well designed. You can tell whose art design that is, because it is stunning.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of mixing kind of like a 1920s aesthetic, like especially like advertisement aesthetic, with like a Firefly-ish like setting.
It is amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I think they did an excellent job with everything, and all of the different areas I've been to are different. So you have like the initial stage where, like we were saying, it's kind of generic-y space world, like, you know, garish kind of colors, like weird looking animals, stuff like that. And then you have just like a space colony on a ship. So you've got kind of that grungy industrial, but like when you walk out onto the promenade where all of the stores and stuff are, it's like Blade Runner-esque almost, with all the neon and everything. And then you go to a desert planet, which looks completely different than all the others. Which I'm about 15 hours in, and I'm only on the 3rd planet, or like the 3rd area. Because that's one thing it does do differently than a lot of the other new Fallouts, is everything's a little bit more compartmentalized. So you don't get a whole planet to play with, like say No Man's Sky, or just like a big open area like Fallout New Vegas. You are kind of constrained to these boxed in areas, but each boxed in area feels really, really big and alive. I'm sure someone will do a comparison on like how big each area is, but like Monarch, the desert planet, the outside area feels huge.
Yeah, it's tempting these days to do one big open world sandbox style. I don't think it's a bad thing to be able to not do that.
Yeah, and I mean they did some plot things to get around some of those things. So like all of the cities are walled in to keep out monsters and like marauders and stuff. So that's kind of their like, here's an easy way to boundary off a city without having to go like full on open planet kind of style. And I think it works. I don't think it takes anything away from the game, it being kind of boxed in, because there are still like huge draw distances. So like you can stand on top of a mountain and like look down into the valley and like see all the little details on the way out, and the skyboxes and everything are very nicely rendered and drawn. And you've got little things like there's spaceships that fly through the air, which don't need to really be there, but they're there just for the extra color and bringing vibrancy to the planet.
It's obviously been very well thought about, right? Very well thought about.
Yeah. And I think you can see a lot of the love that they put into the stuff. The writing is much the same as New Vegas. There's so much kind of just like dry, witty humor through like everything. And one nice thing is you actually have separate dialogue options that seem to matter, unlike Fallout 4, which is probably my biggest gripe with Fallout 4, was just the, you are railroaded left and right with your voice options.
I think the voice options are probably my favourite part of the game at the moment. Because, like, if you're early on, you're wearing this weird suit that was what you were wearing to connect you up to the cryo system. So it's got like 2 tubes dangling down that presumably was connected into the cryo system. And like if you walk up to somebody wearing that suit, the guy's like, "Oh, that's a cool suit, but don't those tubes get in the way?"
Yeah.
Whereas Then, like, I walked up to somebody, I changed into some bandit armor because it offered better protection, and they were like, "Oh, is this some kind of sick joke? You turning up here dressed as a marauder?" You know, they've paid such attention to detail in those dialogue choices, and I love the fact you could just be a dick to people as well, which I always like in a game.
Yeah, and a lot of the dialogue trees have specific options for your skills. So, like, lie, persuade, intimidate. Those are actual skills that you can level up, and there are lots of times to use those, and you get bonus experience points for those. So it's a very much like Fallout New Vegas, where you can talk your way out of probably most of the situations if your dialogue skills are high enough.
It's
but like
it's cleverly written.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and all of the characters so far are fairly well written. Some of them are very one-dimensional. So, like, in the first city you go to, like, the guy that's in charge, he's just 100% corporate everything. You know, no matter what you do, I don't think you can change his mind on whether or not he's doing good or bad. But at the same time, you could play through and be, like, pro-corporation or not pro-corporation. So,
yeah. I mean, we should cover that, right? Because I got a feeling I did something in that. So the first, I assumed it'll be the first of many, but I don't know because I haven't got that far into the game. I'm probably only like 15 hours in myself. But the very early on, there's like a moral choice to be made, right? Do you redirect power? There's only enough power to go one place, essentially. Do you let the cannon factory still have it, where people are effectively stuck in this company town where they have to work in the cannon factory, and if they don't work hard enough, they don't get any medical assistance, and there's a plague going around because they're all eating this crappy canned food that they're making? Or you can redirect the power to the people who've left the cannon factory, and they've set up their own colony, which has got a huge greenhouse that grows plant food that means people aren't getting ill. So you've got that early choice to make, right? Which is again, it's like a typical Obsidian type plot structure, I guess.
Yeah, and like the game actually frames it, I think, in a really, really nice way. Like, before you make the decision, your companion comes up and says, like, think about what you're doing, because the people that live in the city, if they don't have power, one, the corporation's going to come down on them, make their lives worse. But two, they now have no protection because they've always survived from the corporation. So, like, it's great to have the idealistic, like, you know, be free from corporate shackles, but, like, what are the real ramifications for doing this? And the game, they do a very good job of bringing both sides many times to light. So you have to kind of decide, like, do you want to be pro or against the faction that is doing whatever? Yeah. I think right now I'm kind of skirting the line between, like, pro and not pro corporation. I think I would love to do a run through of just, like, pro corporate everything, all of the decisions are like, just to see how the game plays out, because almost all of the you can fail quests and not ruin the game. You can kill people, not ruin the game. So it's like
everyone can be killed.
Yeah,
right?
It's like New Vegas. If you shoot someone in the head, that just either fails or ends the quest. The world continues to live on. There's no kind of, like, soft locking, as far as I can tell, anyway. Most of the quests can be done multiple different ways. So, like, I just did one. You could murder a guy. You could talk them into working with someone else, or you can murder the original person who gave you the quest. Those are the three outcomes, and those are three logical outcomes for that quest.
So there's the interesting thing here. Sorry, to go back to the power redirection. So what I found out was I redirected the power to the cannery, because that's the kind of idiot I am.
You're evil.
Right? And there's a spoiler here. There is a spoiler, a small spoiler. So
we're
skip forward a few minutes. We're fine.
It's like 2 hours into the game.
So, but then what I did was I went back to the colony and told them what I'd done, and then talked the head of the cannery into letting the woman who was the head of the colony take over. And so I just did this by pure luck. I didn't realize you could do this in up front. But she said, if you get rid of whatever his name was with the hat, I'll take over the cannery and the town, and I'll move my people back in, and I'll turn the canning factory into a huge garden. And so there are... And I managed to talk him into leaving. I didn't have to kill him. You could kill him. That was one outcome. But I managed to... Like, I leveled up a few times to get my persuade level high enough that I could talk him into leaving. And he left. And now the outcasts and the cannery workers are just living in that city, and everyone's happy. And, you know, it wasn't planned, but it's kind of cool that you can do that, right?
So then I think the best part about that is that's probably the best outcome. Because if you redirect the power to the outcasts, the city has no power, and then the guy basically like blocks you from taking the power thingy, the power MacGuffin you need for your ship.
Yeah.
And I had the power MacGuffin. I had to kill him because my persuade was 2 points too low, and I didn't have a close enough save, so I didn't want to replay a bunch of it. So I had to shoot him. Because then he turned on me, and then I had to have the big old shootout. But that means that I left the city in much worse state. So that
so what you're saying is me being a dick is actually the right outcome, the best outcome for the planet. So that's good.
I think morally it might have been the better outcome than like trying to free them from corporate shackles.
It's so clever, though, right? That is so clever.
But I think that plays into how well the game is structured. Like. You can make those decisions and then in the after like replay it and have like an actual good replay through. The one thing I hate about Fallout 4 is like everything kind of always ends the same way. Like yes, you can play the different factions, but like you can only kind of play them through once. I'm going to be really interested to see what my second or third playthrough of Outer Worlds is.
I've got a settlement that needs your help, Chris.
If that shows up, I'm sure there will be a joke about that somewhere at some point in the game.
So, okay, I mean, I would be very interested to see how you feel like the gunplay and the mechanics work for you.
So, the gunplay is really a mixture between New Vegas and 4. I feel like it's very Fallout 4-y, which I never really minded. I liked the gunplay in Fallout 4. They do have a quote-unquote VATS. It's called temporary time dilation, so it's like bullet time. But the neat thing is, instead of it just being like a stock time limit, it's based on how much you move. So if you've ever played Super Hot, where like nobody moves unless you move, that's kind of how temporary time dilation works. So you can move your cursor over somebody and see like what their stats are. And then like if you shoot them in the leg, that's going to cripple them. If you shoot them in the chest, it's going to maim them. If you shoot them in the head, it's going to blind them. So they get temporary debuffs based on where you shoot them. And actually, I guess as you level up the time dilation, you can actually target specific body parts to make it easier. So that's kind of the replacement for VATS. So like I use that actually quite a bit, and once I got used to using that, I think it became much more enjoyable from a gunplay experience.
Yeah. I find the gunplay quite underwhelming, if I'm honest. I like it. I like the TTD, not TDD. That's a totally different thing. I find that the weapons are kind of meh. The distinction between weapons is kind of meh.
Are you modding and tinkering with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't feel like there's this... So my favourite thing about these kind of games is when you find a really cool weapon that you can use for a long time. You know, something special. And I don't feel like I found anything that's particularly special yet. Like, you got the self-targeting flamethrower that's cool and fun. But I don't know. I don't know if it's me or not. I just find the weapons... The weapons system feels more like Diablo than it does Fallout for me. Where you just use a gun for, 25 minutes and then you find a better one and then you use that. you mod it and you tinker with it and all that good stuff, but then you find a better, it doesn't feel like there's any real wow moment when you find a really nice weapon. But perhaps I just haven't found a really nice weapon yet, so that's also possible.
It could be, because I have not changed my loadout in 7 or 8 levels, character levels. I usually run around with the plasma rifle, which early game is just insanely overpowered. Yeah. A light machine gun, the hunting rifle, and the shotgun. Because I don't use that. Yeah. I've literally not leveled any of my melee up. So between...
I haven't... I'd like to try a melee build, actually. I'm thinking about that right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the second playthrough I do, is going to be a melee build. But what I've just been doing is I've just been swapping mods out on those and tinkering with them. Because you can tinker them the higher the level you are. So, I've just been tinkering them up as far as I go, and then when I get a new level, I'll go back in and retinker them to throw some extra power on them. So that loadout's been working really well. So, most of the time I'm using the machine gun, which I have the electric mod on, and I think an extended magazine mod. Between that and my 2 companions, we tear through everything. The gunplay things are short.
Don't you feel then that if you've been using the same loadout for 9 levels, that there's the same problem, it's just from a different perspective, where you don't find any, you don't think, oh, cool, I found this new gun that I can immediately start using.
Yeah,
I don't know. I really like the gunplay. I feel like there's a problem on PC or on my PC where picking stuff up off the floor is clunky. It feels like playing PUBG where you're mashing E to try and pick stuff up, which is just annoying. It's not a massive deal, but it is annoying.
It's really annoying on using the controller, because New Vegas and stuff, even Skyrim, there's kind of this buffer zone. You don't have to be right on top of an object to click it, but on Outer Worlds you have to be dead center on that object to pick it up, and that can be really
frustrating.
Annoying.
Yeah. And also I'm playing solo with no companions, just because that's the way I like to play, and that makes it incredibly difficult, which I like. I don't have a problem with dying a lot. I'm playing it on hard, solo. It means, what I like about that is every fight is considered. I'm thinking, right, I'll snipe that person because I got stealth crits to the head. I'll snipe that person. Then I'll use my time dilation to snipe that person, and then they're going to run at me, so I'm going to have to switch to my flamethrower to get those ones. It's good. That's fun for me. That's what I like in a game. And it's a weird combination between Twitch, needing to have reasonable crosshair accuracy and not, because of the time dilation. So I'm enjoying it. It's only 90% there for me, and that 10% makes me a bit sad, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I will say some of the special, the science weapons that you can find, I don't use at all. The shrink ray, I don't understand how that's a viable weapon. Maybe I'm missing something with it. It's it shrinks it, but then it takes forever to damage stuff. I can switch over to the machine gun and just destroy everything. I put the fancy hammer on one of my companions, and she uses it quite a bit, but it doesn't seem to be anything special, in the grand scheme of things.
So they get more powerful the higher your science level, right?
Yeah.
So the shrink rate, for me, I don't have a very high science level, and so it's useless because they're only shrunk for a second or something, and then they're back to full size. So what's the point? I agree. Again, I would love to do a playthrough where I just min-max science to see whether those weapons are hilarious when you've buffed them as good as they can be.
The problem I found with I have a fairly high science score, but with the shrink ray, switching between weapons quickly is a pain. It's one of those annoying kind of gameplay decision things. So if I shrink them and then try to switch to a gun, if I quick switch, I have to make sure that everything's lined up properly, one gun right after the other in my loadout, or then I have to go to the wheel and switch, and that slows down. So it takes me out of the game too much to try to fiddle with it.
I would imagine that the way to play that would be Shrink Ray and Hammer. I can only imagine that's got to be a combo they thought of, right?
Oh, I'm sure they did.
You shrink them and then squish them with the hammer.
Well, it specifically says like shrink them and then you can squash them.
So that's exactly. I got to try that now. I got to try that now. Yeah, there's got to be those. I mean, the science weapons are these unique weapons. I don't know how many of them there are. I know there's more than 2.
Yeah,
because I've only found 2 myself. But it looks like that is going to be like another thing you can do as a playthrough, right? I don't know how long this game is. I've deliberately not read many reviews or anything. I wanted to come to it clean, you know? I didn't know anything about the plot. So I'm very happy. In general, I am very happy with the game.
Yeah.
As I say, my only minor disappointment is I feel like the gunplay needs a tiny amount of work.
Yeah. And I'm 15 hours in and I'm on Monarch, which is the third world. So you have your starting world, then you go to like a colony ship, and then you go to Monarch.
Have you done any of the there's one
the little asteroid, I forgot about that.
Satellite thing. Yeah, I've done a couple of the little bits. I'm trying not to do the plot quests until I've done everything in my journal open, you know?
Yeah, I forgot I did that one. But I went down, did that, and then left. I didn't explore a whole lot. Because I think, you get this. You get another science weapon, I think, on that planet. But yeah, I'm 15 hours in it, and I don't feel like I'm anywhere near the end of the game.
No, I still feel like I'm after 15 hours, I feel like I'm still in the first third. You know, the learning phase. Then because typically the first third of a game they'll hold your hand a lot and then they'll just let you go after that. That's kind of the typical game design, right? So I still feel like I'm in the hand holding stage.
Yeah, and I have not hit the plot beat where it turns on its head. I'm still waiting for that to kind of happen. Yeah, everything is still operating under the plot that I was given at the beginning of the game. You know, try to find the chemicals, help these people out. And there is a plot twist there somewhere, but 15 hours in I have not found it. And that's not because I haven't been looking for it, it's because I've been doing all the side quests and I've been playing and enjoying the game. So
yeah. So another minor spoiler: when you get onto the colony ship, which I can't remember its name, which is bad.
I can't remember. I couldn't think of it either, and I was too lazy to boot up the Xbox.
But so there's the concept of this organization called the Board, which is the representatives from all of the corporations, kind of loosely making this ruling government. I guess, you know, that's going to be a plot point later on. Mm-hmm. I would imagine anyway. But they are representative. He says to you, you can turn in the guy who saved you, right? You can actually say, yeah, I know where he is, and I tried to do that. And then he says, oh, you can't turn him in. I sold my official seal to the fence on the station, so then you have to save up 8,000 units, go and buy the seal. So I went and bought the seal back, and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally going to turn this guy in to see what happens, right? But then, once you give him the seal back, he just totally forgets about the fact that you tried to turn this guy in and you can't turn him in. And I was so disappointed. Because I wanted to see how they... Because the only person I've met in the entire game you can't kill is this Doc Brown character who rescued you.
And that's because he's literally in a glass case.
Yeah, because he's obviously the only plot device that cannot be replaced. So I was thinking... How are they going to do this? This is really intriguing. How are they going to get me out of this? But yeah, it just turns out he just ignores your earlier offer to turn the guy in, which is a shame. But yeah, I understand.
When I hit that character, which you have to deal with anyway, he's not a hidden character or anything. That was when I decided, I'm like, what happens if you are pro board and pro corporation? How does that change the game? And again, I think it just kind of goes back to they've done very well setting the game up for various different playthroughs, how you want your character to react to situations, but also how you want to build your character, because it is very much an RPG. It's not a light RPG. You are putting points into stats and deciding how you want those to go. There's a pretty decent perk tree. I'm not super happy with it, but you can pick different perks for both you and your companions, and there's a lot of deciding what guns do I want, what armor do I want, when do I upgrade, what do I mod.
It's what's intriguing to me is, we touched on it earlier, almost virtually every dialogue tree I've been in where there's a quest interaction has a skill point locked option. Like, you see them everywhere, and sometimes multiple skill point locked options. I haven't gone into the talky way, so they're all locked for me. Nearly all of them are locked for me. I've got some engineering, so sometimes you get an engineering option, but because I've just gone full pistol stealth, which is my default first playthrough in any game that I can. But it's like, I'd be very, very intrigued to do a playthrough where you're like, right, I'm going to try and kill as little as possible. So stealth and diplomacy. Because I think it would be totally doable. I think you could possibly do a no-kills run for the entire game. I don't know that, because I haven't played it enough, but it feels like you could totally do a no-kills run.
I don't know if you could do a proper no-kills run, just because there's so many environmental enemies between, like, random...
Yeah, but I think good stealth.
I think you could lower it down pretty good. Because, like, I'm thinking, like, on Monarch, there's a couple places where, like, they kind of barrel you into, like, doing it. I think most of the quests and things like that, you could do completely passive with just dialogue options. And there's a couple where, like, they tell you, like, you know, like, you don't have to kill the guy. I just want the situation resolved. Like, you decide how you want to do it. And I think that's really, really impressive compared to, like, Fallout 4, where sometimes your only option is to kill the person. Or, like, you know, kill the enemy or do whatever. So I think it's totally doable to do a very, I would say, low kill run. Just because there's so many times where, like, a monster decides, like, I've targeted you and you're gonna get me. That could also be because my stealth sucks, because I've not put anything in stealth. So...
Oh, the stealth, once it gets up above about 70, is remarkably good. Like, the problem is, once they spot you, spot you. You have to get miles away. But you can run away and reset, and the stealth is... I'm not like, I don't normally play stealthy. Like, I only play the stealth option for the damage multiplier, right? That's the reason. I'm not trying to sneak around people.
You're metagaming.
I just like the damage multiplier, right? Yeah. I'm min-maxing in a way, right? But I feel like the stealth is relatively well thought out, in as much as if you're being quiet, you're in light armor, you've got high stealth, you can walk virtually behind someone. But as soon as they get line of sight on you, you know, it's not Skyrim stealth, where as long as you're completely still, somebody can, like, literally walk straight past you, you know. Or even Fallout 4 stealth, right? Where if you're completely still, you can buff your stealth to be amazing. But I think it might be doable. I think you can... do you know what the clever thing is? If you're in an area which is really difficult to get through because of monsters, just sleep through the day until it's nighttime, because the monsters go to sleep and you can totally sneak past them.
Yeah, that's true. I did that with the primal beasts.
It's and also, like, if there's a marauder area that you need to get through, they'll totally go to bed. It's just cool. Like, you can just do that. It's awesome.
So see, there's now my third playthrough that I want to play through. I'm going to be pro corporate, and then I'm going to do... But I think, like, this game has been out less than a week. Like, tomorrow will be one full week. And I'm already deciding how I want to do my second playthroughs. That's, I think, that's the testament to this game, is that it came out.
Yeah,
it's not really buggy. I've not really encountered any bugs. I feel like I almost kind of want to get this on Switch when it comes out on Switch next year, just so I have a portable version of it.
I think you're right.
This is going to be my Fallout New Vegas, where I buy it on everything. Or my Skyrim, where I buy it on everything.
So, on PC, I had some problems on day 0. The game was really... What's the word I'm going to look for you? Laggy is the best description. So, it would pause constantly, and then sometimes I would get a spinner, like a buffering spinner, which I'm guessing was because he was having to load textures into memory. So I updated my NVIDIA drivers, and I had to go and close down everything in the background. So no browser open. All of the 94 different game launchers I had to close. Dropped. I'm on high from ultra, and now it's very, very infrequently I get the odd tiny pause, but it's much better now, and it is unnoticeable. So yeah, I think there is. I've read of other people having similar problems. PC games ultimately always have problems in the first month, just because there's so much variety of hardware that it's impossible for them to test on every combination.
But and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there was a massive day one patch though, where it's like we're shipping this game, we're gonna fix it in the After Effect because when I downloaded it, it was just one single 800 meg download on the Xbox. I've not had any updates since, compared to other games that have come out, and it's every other day there's a patch release.
Yeah. I don't feel like this is anything new for a game. For a game that's particularly for a game that looks as good as this does. Let me make that point clear. This is a damn good looking game. So.
Yeah, I love the aesthetic. The player the NPC models and stuff are very well done. So I'm playing it on console and I love the way it looks. I'm aware that that's not anywhere near what you can get on high. I'm interested to see what will happen with mods in the future, and that'll probably be the thing that causes me to purchase it on PC.
Yeah, again.
It depends because I can get it free on Game Pass through Windows Store, but I don't know how mods work, how that plays with mods.
Yeah, I don't know, these subscriptions, they can always go away, right? So I bought it anyway, even though I had Xbox Game Windows Store. Because I don't know, they may it may only be a year's deal, or I don't know. I just there's games on there that I buy, that I play because they're on there, so I don't care if I don't own them, because I don't care if they go away, but I want to own this. So.
Yeah, this is the first one I'm I have it on Game Pass, I don't have to actually turn on. I didn't even know it was going to be on Game Pass when I got Game Pass. There will come a point where I actually go to physically buy this, because either I want it on PC, or, like I said, I think I'm going to pick it up on Switch when it comes out next year. So I'm going to get it physical on there. Maybe, I don't know, that may not... I may still have to get it, on a disc somewhere. Because, on Xbox, it's 800 megs. Or 800 gigs. Or no, 800 megs. So, yeah, it would fit on a card.
Is that all?
Yeah, it was a quick download. I was really, really surprised.
It's it was 60 gig on PC.
Oh, I don't think it was anything near that big on the Xbox.
There we go. Anyway, I hope you have many more hours of fun. I know that I totally will.
Oh, I know I will. I will be playing it later again tonight, so...
Cool. So, I guess that's a good 45 minutes about something we both really, really love it sounds.
So, yeah, so you can find me on Twitter as Dragonman Tank. You can also find me on Twitch. I stream every once in a while, not nearly as much as Gary. Twitch TV/Dragonman Tank. You can find Gary on Twitch as twitch.tv/Spabby, SPABBY, or on Twitter as how do you pronounce this? Because I always freaking forget.
I just say at GH because it's like my initials, right? That's what the name comes from. At GH. GWH. Yeah, it's all good. And I don't stream a lot of gaming anymore. I do mainly crappy programming, but it's fun to hang out. So come on.
But you can always find us on Jerks Talk Games on Twitter, or at jerkstalkgames.com, where the episodes for this, as well as some notes, are always available. So you can download us wherever you find podcasts. If you can, either tell your friends about this podcast or leave a rating or review on whichever service you use. It always helps. So Gary, I am going off to work now because it's time for my work. I'm sure your work day is now over with you being over on the other side of the Atlantic.
No, it's 2 p.m, so I have to go and gargle some salt water. Then I have another meeting at 2:30 and another one at 4:30.
Oh, yay, meeting days.
It's meetings. It's meetings Wednesday. Although it's not really meetings. I'm hanging out to some of the team for them to show me stuff. So it's not really meetings. It's good.
Gotcha. Well,
interaction.
Enjoy your meetings and don't forget to save your game.